Well, welcome back to the Gobby Gaffer. And it's the Gobby Gaffer at a little bit of a loose end. I finished the Sarah save, and if you've not watched that, terrific save. Started off in Brazil with a club called Sarah, and well, we won everything there was to win in Brazil. So I used the Creator Club and brought them over to England, dropped them into the Championship, won the Championship, won the Premier League twice, and then, well, we went on to try and win the Champions League. I won't spoil that one for you, but it's a very, very good save. I was very proud of that last episode, the Champions League episode. I was a little bit disappointed with the viewing numbers on that, because I put a lot of work into it. There's a lot of effort into it. But anyway, that's by the way. But if you've not watched the Sarah save, go and have a watch. Of course, we're on the console version here of Football Manager, and by now we should have had a nice, shiny new version, FM25, on the console, and it was meant to be revolutionary. New match engine, the whole game was on a new engine, the Unity engine. But of course it got cancelled. It was put back initially, but then come March, when it was supposed to have been brought out, they actually said, no, sorry, there's going to be no FM25, and well, we hope to see you in November of 2025 with a new game. We've heard nothing since, absolutely nothing. We have no idea if we're getting a new game, not getting a new game, what it's going to look like. Who knows? Okay, so like I say, I've been twiddling my thumbs for about a week now, thinking, well, I need to do something. I need to come up with an idea. And one or two ideas have gone by. Alex in the comments said, why don't you do the Pentagon Challenge or a journeyman save? And anyway, I think what I've decided to do is I've decided to fast forward the game with me unemployed to January of this year, 2025. Seems a bit bonkers starting in 2023, doesn't it? So I fast forwarded the game, I'm unemployed, and basically I'm just going to have a look what jobs are there. Now, I have to say, I have to preempt this by saying that I've managed in most countries in Europe, and I've managed in Brazil as well. I don't want to manage in England again, so that's off the table. But Portugal is one that quite interests me. And if there are any jobs with Portuguese teams, like lower league teams, a little bit of a challenge, if you will, to make the save interesting. And then you never know, maybe it's going to be like a journeyman type save where if I do well, I'll get offered a job at a bigger club and then a bigger club and then eventually end up with, a decent club in Europe, not in England, in Europe. And, we can try and challenge for league honours, cup honours, and maybe even European glory. I don't know. Okay, well, shall we dive in? Let's have a look and see what jobs are available on the 1st of January 2025 in Football Manager 24, the console version. So just for a bit of background information, I have got 10 leagues loaded. Portugal, Spain, Austria, Belgium, England. No, I don't want to go to England, but I've got 10 European leagues loaded. So just having a quick look in there now. And, there's Austrian Premier Division, there's Bundesliga 2, there's Italian Serie B, there's some Dutch jobs available on NAC Breeder. But there are 3 jobs available there in Portugal. And I really do fancy managing in Portugal. Never done it before. I'm not really too bothered about the Premier League one, Gil Vicente. Not really too bothered about that because I want it to be a little bit of a challenge. And, let's face it, we've got a lot of time to kill till November of this year until maybe we get a new game. Who knows? But these two here, Ferreira and Oliveirense, I mean, 16th, I think there's 18 teams in that second division in Portugal. So Oliveirense are bottom and Ferreira are 16th. I think I'm going to apply for both of those and let's see which one comes through. So both jobs applied for, and well, we just sit and wait now and see if we get offered a job. There are leading candidates in there. So Ricardo Duarte, 5-1 favourite to be the next Fera manager, and Jorge Costa is 6-1 to be the next Oliveirense manager. But of course, once the Gobby Gaffer throws his hat in the ring, well, all of those odds could get well, thrown into disarray. Let's put it that way. Let's face it, most teams around Europe have heard of the Gobby Gaffer, and if they haven't, well, they should go back and watch my series save, because it was very good. I know, I'm going to keep banging on about that, particularly that European episode. Okay, let's go forward and see what happens. Okay, well, I have done a little bit of research into these two teams, and it would appear that Ferreira are the better of the two. I think they're a 3-star club, whereas the other team are only a 2.5-star club. And facilities-wise, Ferreira would be a better job to take. However, challenge-wise, I don't know. I mean, I have been offered there. I've been offered the Ferreira job, £2,000 a week. A transfer budget of 1.5 million and a wage budget of 47.5. End of the current season, avoid relegation from the second league. And it does say there that please be aware, in the unlikely event of the club being relegated, we will be unable to consider keeping you in the role. So I would have to keep them up. I think we are going to delay that one and see if we get an offer from the other team. Because to be honest, challenge-wise, I think the other job is a lot more challenging. Okay, it's taken them a while to make their mind up, 23 days in fact, but Oliveirense have offered me a job, 2,800 a week, so it's more money for me in this job than the other one. However, there's no transfer budget in this one, and the wage budget is 7,000 less. And this is also saying avoid relegation. And they're also saying that if the club were to be relegated, they would be unable to consider keeping me in a role. So I've got from, well, I mean, I've got, February, March, April. I've got about 4 months to try and get them out of the relegation area. Otherwise, I could end up getting sacked. And it's a long time since I've been sacked in Football Manager. But it could make for a very interesting and entertaining save. So I think I'm going to negotiate on this one. And I think we're going to see if we can take this job. Because I think this one kind of suits a Football Manager save better. It's a little bit more interesting. Okay, just having a little bit of a further look at the 5-year plan. So at the end of next season, they want to record, or is that end of the 25-26 season? Yeah, that's right. So they want to record a top half finish. So there's a little bit of ambition there, which is quite good. Be competitive in the cups. Looks like there's 2 cups to play for, the PT Cup and the League Cup. But we do have to avoid relegation. They're offering me a 1-year contract, 2,800 a week. I do get a 15% rise if we get promoted, but a 35% wage drop if we get relegated. But they've already said they won't keep me on. I mean, that could change. You never know. You never know. I think I'm just going to finalise that deal and let's take over and let's see what we face with. And the press release is arrived, and we're delighted to welcome the Gobby Gaffer as our new manager. Gobby has the board's full backing. Well, unless we get relegated. And we're excited for the times ahead. So am I. Okay, Oliveirense. Who? I don't know. Let's delve a little bit deeper and see where they are in Portugal and what the ground looks like, if we can find any images. Okay, well, the stadium is more or less due south of Porto and not too far from the coast, actually. And the stadium is the Estadio Dr. Carlos Azario. And it looks to be very, very well served. A big motorway there running through, but lots of side roads there. It does look in, well, I wouldn't say it's a heavily populated area. A lot of houses on this side here. Bit of parkland around the right-hand side of it. Let's see if we can zoom in even further. Okay, so we've zoomed into a concrete wall. Obviously, the stadium is on the other side of that concrete wall. Yeah. It's not quite as nice looking as it was on the built out map, is it? Let's go up here a little bit and see if we can catch a glimpse of anything that's going on. Oh, a little bit underwhelming. That looks like the front door, if I'm honest. I'm guessing those little portholes there. Let's just zoom in a little bit. Yes, does it look like that's price in there? So those little portholes there, it looks like that's where you pan your dosh over and get into the stadium. Don't look like we can get any further into that at all. So, not the biggest stadium in the world, is it? But yeah, a little bit underwhelming that, if I'm honest. They could have put a coat of paint on that wall, couldn't they, really? Just to make it a little bit nicer. Okay, a shot of the inside of the ground then. It looks to be quite a picturesque setting, doesn't it? But the ground is very, very tiny. In-game, it says the stadium holds about 1,800. On Wikipedia, it says the ground holds 4,000, so I'm not quite sure on that one. And I don't suppose there's too much call for covered seating in Portugal, although I guess it does rain in Portugal from time to time. But yeah, a little look there at some of the seating. Most of it is, is out in the open. But yeah, it's a very, let's be kind, shall we? It's a very tight little ground. And I think we're going to have our work cut out. Okay, as per usual on the console version, we don't really have dynamics as such. What we have to do is select 3 principles that we basically are my principles, and I want my players to adhere to them. And then it's up to the players then, as they play and get used to me and used to the way I play. It's up to them that they either buy into my principles or don't buy into them. And if they don't buy into them, that's where the dynamics comes in. You can fall off a cliff with your dynamics. If they buy into them, and well, you just have to treat them well, really. If they buy into them, then everything's hunky-dory. So we have to pick 3, and I normally go for I think dedication, respect, and leadership. So it's all about hard work, effort, respecting one's teammates, building a cohesive winning group, and obviously leadership. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. So those are the 3 principles that I'm going to select. So I'll have a quick look round now, and those are the 3 kits that we play in. The main kit is mainly red with like a blue stripe down the side. We got more blue in the second kit, and then the third kit is basically white with a little bit of red trim. We were predicted to finish 12th this season. Obviously, that's why they've sacked the manager. They're not doing well. But anyway, the stadium is in good condition, adequate facilities for youth, average training facilities. Stadium was built in 1932. Well, I think we've seen that. It could do with a lick of paint. Use capacity 1,800. It does say on Wiki 4,000, so I'm not quite sure about that. But anyway, we are bottom of the league at the moment. Well, I'm definitely used to this on the finance screen. I'm definitely used to the overall balance being in the red. We are 1 million in the red, so not ideal. No transfer budget, and the wage budget of 39,794, and committed spend at the moment is 28,703. So if you just have a look down this season's results, they had a really bad run there, didn't they, in December? 3 losses, couple of draws, another loss. The last game was a loss on the 19th of January. And the interesting thing is looking at the formation. So they were playing a 4-3-3 DM wide. And now they've gone to a 4-2-3-1. Obviously, he was floating things around a bit to try and get some results. It looks like when he tried that, he did get a couple of draws out of it, but then they got beat by Torrense. Staffing wise, we do have a chief scout, director of football. We've no assistant manager, so we'll have to put that right. We've no head of youth development, and the head physio looks all right actually, 3.5 star. So there's a couple of positions there in the staffing that we will need to fill. And this is basically the dynamic screen in the console version. And as you can see there, if you look across here, it's like a bar chart basically, and you've got 4 columns. So that's the first column, second column, third column, and that's top of the shop right over that side there. At the moment, the player buy-in is, well, pretty poor, to be quite honest. We want to see all of these lines right over this right hand side here, and dedication, respect and leadership. I want all my players to be adhering to that and be, you know, engaged, enthusiastic, that kind of thing. If we start winning games and we start doing well on the pitch, then they will organically, you know, move over that way. But anyway, we'll have to see how that one goes. So league table is looking absolutely dreadful. I'm not quite sure there what that grade out. I think that might be like a playoff position. A lot of the European leagues have a playoff position where the 16th in this league plays somebody out of the 3rd division for, you know, the right to stay up. But certainly the bottom 2 will go down, and the 2 teams I put in for, you know, I applied for, you know, bottom. And obviously Olivierense are bottom with 15 points, and we're going to need to bridge a gap of 5 points up to TND there, and 6 points up to Penafiel to try and stay in this league. And it's going to be a challenge, this. I think it's definitely going to be a challenge. Quick look in the dev centre. Rafa Oliveira, 19-year-old centre-back, 2-star potential to be 3.5. Doesn't look to be an awful lot, but we've not got a head of youth development, have we? So that's probably never going to get any better. So here's the important stuff now. I have selected by position, and we'll have to have a look at all of these players. I'm going to have to go away, do a bit of head scratching. I mean, what's this lad here, Raniel? What's his situation? He wants to move to a bigger club, Raniel. 28 years old. His stats are not amazing, are they, really? He's 6'3", though. Central defender. I mean, okay. Brazilian. I think he should be doing a little bit better. Have we got any kind of history on him? 16 appearances, 1 player in match, 6.87. But he's been with us a long time. I mean, just on a quick look, it doesn't look like the squad is too bad, if I'm honest. I'm going to have to go away with a cup of coffee and just have a look through this now, see what kind of formation I want to play, and see if we can get this club away from the bottom. Let's just have a quick look at the reserve squad and see if there's anybody in there that's half decent. Well, I'm liking the look of Antonio Pera. It's only 16, like, but I mean, I may be here for a while, so maybe he will come through. He's got 5-star potential. Yeah, 1 or 2 half-decent looking kids in there, but you know, quite a few of the best ones with the best potential are only 16, so it might be 2, 3, 4 years before we see the best out of them. Okay, like I say, I think I'm going to go away now and have a look at this. For any new players, I know one of the big questions that gets asked all of the time is, how do you select a tactic? How do you select a formation? Well, it's not rocket science, really. Let's say you wanted to play with wingers. If you have no wingers in your squad, or nobody who can play there, you can't play a winger system, can you? You know, if you wanted to play with wing backs that can bomb forward, if you've only got full backs and they've got no stamina or acceleration or pace, you can't play with wing backs. It's basically just look through your squad and see what you've got. And I mean, I can already see there we've got 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 attacking midfielders. So the chances are we're going to play with an attacking midfielder behind a striker. I mean, have we got any other strikers? We've got two strikers there, Brandao and Sekou Baraji. One's 19, 2.5-star with 5-star potential. Yes, please. Let's have a look at him. But then he is quite young and his stats are not great, are they? You know, but he is only 19. But like I say, you know, let's say you wanted to play with like an anchor or, you know, like a segundo volante in your team to protect the back four. And you look through and there might be players there that are not actually categorised as an anchor or a segundo volante. But if they've got the attributes to do it and they're young enough, then train them up to do that if that's what you want to do. You might not want to play that way. You might want to be gung-ho and go forward. So you want wingers, you want attacking midfielders, maybe a couple of strikers. If you've not got those players or players that you can't train up for those positions, you can't do that. So it's not rocket science. It's not as difficult as you think. And I know Football Manager can be quite confusing when you pick it up and load it up for the first time. But I am going to try and do some more tutorials on this save and focusing on positions. So like, what is a Mezzala? What does a Mezzala do? You know, what stats would you want to see out of a Mezzala? So and that all feeds into the fact that, okay, you want to play with a Mezzala. You don't have any actual Mezzalas in the team. But if you've got a 19, 20-year-old who's got the stats, and I will go through all of this when I do my little tutorial videos, but if you've got a young player, 19, 20, who's got the stats to be a Mezzala, then go into development and train him to be a Mezzala. And then you've got a Mezzala. And I will explain all of this. I'm going to do some separate videos. I've got to fill the time somehow. FM25, well, we can't even say that anymore now, can we? FM25 is been, gone, done and dusted. It's going to be FM26 or I don't know. Are they going to call it FM26? Is it even going to come out? Who knows? We've got a lot of time to fill. So you might be saying, well, we don't need tutorials at FM. Well, I think we maybe do actually. And I will explain that when I do those videos. Okay, well, I've got myself a new club. I'm in Portugal. Very nice indeed. The ground is very, we're going to be generous again here. It's very tight and compact, isn't it? I think that's the nicest thing that we can say about it. But we've got a new job, bottom of the league. We're in, we're nearly the end of January now, and it's going to be a big task to try and keep them up. To be honest, looking at the situation, I think I might end up getting sacked at the end of this season. But then, you know, anybody that's viewing this will love that, won't they? You know, it makes great viewing when the manager gets sacked. I'm going to try and do my best not to get sacked. Okay, this is the first video. Don't want it to be War and Peace. When I come back, I'll show you what tactic, what formation I've picked, what players are going to fit into that, and we'll play a couple of games as well. Stick around. I think this one's going to be quite fun.